Hello there, survivors. Today we're taking a look at some of the best build locations on Astraeos, the free release. And let's be honest, almost anywhere you look on this beautiful Greek modded map is a great place to build. But these are some of my favorites that I really enjoy and really like. But if you have any other cool locations you discovered whilst playing on this map, please leave them down in the comments below. And if you're watching this further in the future, there might already have been a premium release with more new locations that probably will be also very beautiful and good to build at. I'll probably do an updated video at some point when that happens. But this is just for the first starter island, Corinthos, and all the beautiful places that can be found there. I'm starting off with what might be one of my favorite locations, both for its ease of use and just beautiful surroundings. I'm talking about the spot right underneath the green obelisk, or the big lady in the sky. You got a nice pre-built temple on the hill, some really cool statues out there as well, and some other architecture that is already here, and of course access to the obelisk right next to your base. But besides that, there's also some good spaces, some good fields out here where you could definitely build your base, like I am doing as well. Next to the river, there's definitely some good spots, and just in all these different platforms along this waterfall and river down from the temple. It's just a really beautiful location, but also quite convenient with building, but also just to get started, of course, because once you get up here, you already have the temple here, and all you really need to do is add in some foundations on the inside, add a gateway at the front, and you have a base that will keep you safe very early on and very easily without having to spend too many materials. And then you'll have all these cool statues in your front yard. There's definitely room to expand to both sides. You could also, of course, build something here because it's absolutely lovely on this side with the trees, the flowers, everything looks amazing over here. And then you also have this part where you have this beautiful place to look out over a part of the map, and you could also definitely build something else in here or in front of this just to make a beautiful addition to your base. So yeah, I definitely think you could build some really cool stuff in and around this area of the green orb, whether you want to rebuild some of the existing architecture or do both, add some of your own flair and also use the existing stuff. And of course, you'll have the convenience of having the obelisk right next to your base to launch boss fights, but also to transfer if you're on a server or cluster, or maybe transferring between your worlds on single player. So yeah, very nice, very central, and a very cool location to build at. I doubt you'll have issues finding this location, seeing there's a giant lady floating above it, but these are the coordinates for this location. Perhaps the prettiest location of them all, and that is saying something because this map is absolutely stunning, but the blossom biome right here is really, really cool. First of all, because of the blossom trees, which look amazing. And also you have the statue in the landscape, two of them actually, if you look close enough. And a very cool land bridge that you could use to build on. But honestly, anywhere in this biome, I would try to keep as much of the trees as possible. Looks really, really nice. You've got some lovely little lakes, some waterfalls all around that are definitely very good looking backdrops for any base. I mean, look at all these waterfalls. There we have the second statue as well. The first one, of course, being a little bit more obvious. But yeah, if you want to build right down here, maybe next to the lake, that could be a really nice location. Pretty flat as well, but also a little bit higher up on the land bridge could be a really good spot to build your own base. And an added bonus, beside being a very pretty location, is that you also have access right here to the bee cave, so you can easily get yourself as much honey as you'll ever need right in your back garden, which is really, really cool. And yeah, as I said, I think this location is just absolutely stunning and very, very, very beautiful. So who wouldn't want to live in a place like this and build your own little paradise? It is located right here on the map. Now, I'm gonna say this probably very often in this video, but this map has some amazingly stunning and beautiful location, including some very close to some of the spawn points on the map, and even the easy spawn points. This one is the eastern spawn point on Corinthos, where you have these beautiful pre-built structures. There's a ruin close by, but there's also this temple that stands on this cliff, which looks really cool. You got some of the blossom trees around, and you've got this little bay to work with. So whether you want to build on this little island over here, any of these locations, there's some good flat-ish spots as well where you can build your base, or of course, again, easily turning one of these temples into your base without needing much more than a few foundations and a gateway. And again, it's a really cool location. You could keep expanding here in front as well, getting some really cool looking bases around here. And of course, you could use the base as your ocean expansion for your custom modded ships that are accompanied for this map, or of course just all for your water tames and your water breeding, because you'll have plenty of space in here for sure. And as I said, on the other side there is a ruin, so if you maybe want to go for this instead, it's still a really cool location, and you still have the amazing views over this bay and over the temple on the other side as well. I mean, I'm gonna say this quite often, but there's really not a wrong choice on this map, because everywhere you look, it is amazing. It's really one of the prettiest things that I've ever seen. I think Nakadas did an amazing job in making this map, because this looks absolutely stunning. And right here are the coordinates for the temple, and then of course the whole bay and this location. Now, it might have been a while since I've done a ruin rebuild project, but the love has never faded, and Astraeos definitely has some nice ruins that you could rebuild, or at least build alongside, and this island is definitely one of the more exciting ones. It's connected by a ruined bridge from the mainland, so you have your own private road to your front door, having a bridge so you can easily protect yourself from any dangers, although I doubt many dangers will get close to you here. And then you have basically this little rock or cliff coming from the ocean that has a nice ruin on top of it. But it's the perfect kind of ruin in my opinion, because this is one that you can easily rebuild and still have some freedom to express yourself with what the building is gonna look like on top, instead of those pre-built ruins that are completely done already and you're not really in charge of how it's gonna look. Besides that, you've got some of these amazing white blossom trees as well that look really nice. All over the rocks are also just some nice vegetation, giving them a really nice look. And if you wanted to, you could build up higher even alongside the cliff all the way. Or if you only build down into the ruin, you might actually be able to save some of the crystal spawns that are on top of the highest points. There's a lot of options here, and a pretty good sizable ruin to start rebuilding for sure. You even have your own little water source right inside of the ruin that you could easily turn, of course, into your water source for your base, meaning that you don't even have to connect up to the ocean. And you're still surrounded by the ocean, so for your ocean tames or ships, you could probably easily find a way to have those around as well. But yeah, it's a really pretty location. And also, with the future in mind, it's on the right side of the island, which means that as soon as more regions gets unlocked, you are closer to them on this side of the island. And I mean, a good ruin rebuild is always a fun and good project, in my opinion. It's located right here on the map along the coast. There's a few cave locations on the map, and some of these caves you can definitely use as your base location, but this one is probably the best option. First of all, it's got a really cool entrance both on land and in the water, which could be convenient to get in your land tames or your ocean tames quite easily. And then once you're inside, you've got plenty of space to build at and make a really interesting and unique looking base, well protected from everything on the outside. And you've got a water part if you want to work on your ocean tame and your water tames. That should be quite enough to get most tames in and get them breeding up. You got plenty of very flat-ish spaces that you could start building at, right here at the back, but also over here you've got plenty of spaces, and you even have some layers where you could start building. So for a bigger tribe, this could also still be an amazing spot. I especially also like this bit with the little circle here, the waterfall passing through it. So yeah, definitely a very cool and unique location. Maybe you want to build like a hidden pirate cove or something like that. This would be the perfect location to do so. It's located right here on the map. Besides the mainland mass of Corinthos, there's actually also a few islands out in the ocean that are pretty good for building a base. Depending on your size, you've got the option to pick from some smaller islands and a few that are a little bit bigger, like this one I picked right here. And there's a few reasons why I think this is a really good base build location. First of all, it's got a lot of flattish area that you could build on. So whether you want to build a island town or city, you've got plenty of space here, definitely to expand even a little bit of a higher layer, maybe for the most important part of your base. There's a little waterfall as well with some blossom trees to give you that little bit of extra spice and color on your island, if you can keep those trees safe, of course. And one other reason that is really nice for this location is that as soon as the map starts expanding and opening up more regions, you're on the right side. You're actually really close to the middle of the ocean, so it would be a lot easier to start crossing it to explore those new lands. So future-proof location as well. But yeah, also just if you want to have a nice island base separate from the mainland, this would be really cool option. You even have this extra little addition of the coast to use for, I don't know, maybe a lighthouse or whatever. There's a little bay here as well that you could maybe start as your port or docks, and maybe your water tames as well, because you could easily close a little bit of the section off maybe. But yeah, it's just a really nice and peaceful island that you could start building on, and has plenty of as good as flat spots that are really nice for building on, of course. So it's located right here on the map, so pretty central in the ocean. And actually, very fun fact, it's not actually showing as an island on the map. So I mean, it's not hard to find, of course, because you can still see it, but maybe people won't suspect it because, I mean, it's not on the map for some reason, or not yet anyway. There's quite a few pre-built structures around the map, some of which I like, some of them I don't, but this one definitely is another cool base location to start building at. First of all, another cool statue, really nice to have as a detail around your base, especially since unfortunately we can't place any of those or even smaller versions like that ourselves right now, but it looks really cool. And you've got a ruin right on top of it too that you could easily turn into a base once more. And again, it's one of those ruins that I actually really like, with no roof on top yet, so you could still have some freedom in shaping up a build of yourself. This part of the structure is a little bit more pre-built, but you could probably still expand it. And the coolest part might these cauldron braziers that are already on the spot, so you have some really cool lighting in your base that you can't place around yourself. If only assets like this were also available in the structure mod, because that would have been amazing to use as light around the base as well. But yeah, you've got a pretty nice ruin to start rebuilding here, of course. But what's more, there's actually a connected land bridge to this ruin that is pretty flat and pretty good to build on as well if you need more room to expand on, so that you can have a little bit of a bigger base. And there's a road going right from the beach all the way up into these mountains and basically crossing over into the middle of the map. So it's a pretty good location right now already, because you get easy access to the middle of the map, relatively close to the obelisk, but in the future you're still close enough to the beach and to this area here up north as well. So yeah, definitely a lot of potential in this ruin, and it's located right here on the map. This is another pre-built location, but it's a very fitting and cool one. It's the Amphitheatre that you could definitely use as part of your base. Of course, you could try really building it, maybe adding to its glory and make some cool structures along the outer ring of it. You could definitely add your boss launch platform in the middle, making that centered around the amphitheater. Or maybe if you're on a server, you could have some fun games here as well. The surrounding area is actually also pretty good for a base location. You have the blossom trees, which make for a beautiful backdrop, and I would definitely try to keep around because they just look amazing. But right next to it, there's actually some plains that are pretty good for a base. I mean, they're not completely flat. They're a little bit of the rolling hills, but there's definitely some options for some decent big base builds here without too much effort, and then you will have the amphitheater right in your backyard as a pretty cool view for sure. So yeah, this is definitely a good place with a lot of potential. And I mean, it might just be me, but I really love the blossom trees. So having this forest in front of either your amphitheater base or a base right here, and having both the amphitheater and these blossom trees just sounds like an amazing idea to me. They are located right here on the map. So the only real downside I see to this location is it being on the wrong side of the map technically, because there's only a world border out here. But I mean, the location and the looks of the location definitely make up for it. And at least for the free version, getting around the whole island is not that big of a problem anyway. So the next build location is a tricky one, and I've named it the Valley, because basically everything from the ships that are pre-built here on the beach all the way up to the end of this valley is just one giant, amazing, pretty location with many spots for potential bases. So it starts right here on these coordinates at the beach with some of these ships, which are not the companion mod that you need to download separately, but these are in the map itself. So you could just go on top of one of these, I suppose, and build something on there. Or you could raid one of these two camps, because you can actually get some good loot from breaking these boxes, especially early on. That will get you some upgraded tools without having to craft them and get the metal smelted and everything, so you can skip the Stone Age basically. And then following this road up into the valley, there's just more and more amazing spots. Like over here, there's plenty of these little flat spots everywhere. There's some of these little farm areas that you could definitely use as a guideline or start of a base, maybe your early game base. Alongside the river is some absolutely amazing looking locations, and as I said, it's pretty much all along this entire valley. There's just so many options, cool backdrops like the quarry up there, more of these little settlements out here as well. Just some absolutely gorgeous terrain like the waterfalls on the side with more of those cool statues as well. There is just a whole lot here to like. You've got these lovely little rivers and waterfalls everywhere. Flat spots like this where you could probably build a nice base on. Or, I mean, you could go even higher because there's also like a pre-built town with temples up there. There is so much in this one valley. All the way up here. Many cool locations and spots to build on depending on what kind of size of the base you're imagining. Lots of these little platforms to work with, ending in this location here where you have a very big flat spot at the end of the valley, even a little shrine here to the Medusa boss, which would be quite cool to have in your backyard, I suppose. And then just this whole little area is the nice ending of the valley. So now we're made it up to these coordinates. but pretty much anywhere along this valley is so pretty and such a cool location to build on for sure. And we've made it back up north, and there's some other cool locations here. Being this pre-built temple, which of course always makes for a great starter base because it's quite easy to turn them into your base without needing too many structures or resources. But also for the future, there's a lot of cool surrounding places here. You've got this little island that you could integrate. There's actually also some structures on there. But just this whole area around it as well, there's some pretty decent spots here that you could kind of expand your base and have the temple as part of it, or just as a very beautiful backdrop to look at in your base itself, because you've got this whole area down here with a little river, there's some waterfalls to enjoy as well. You got the natural roads here, but even if you go a little bit further, maybe up to this cliff platform, there's actually a really nice platform here, quite flat areas to build on, where you would still have the temple in the distance as a cool view, as well as the statues of Zeus right there in the distance as well. So yeah, definitely a very good spot and a lot of potential right here as well. Once again, having the temple in the background as a view isn't really a bad thing. So yeah, definitely lots of potential here as well. And I do believe there's actually a cave, but I do think this might be one of the artifact caves actually. Not quite sure, haven't discovered that yet, but yeah, it is a really good location to build at. So these cliffs up here are located right here on the map. So these are pretty good if you want to do some big buildings yourself. And then the temple is located right here for if you just want to easily go to rebuild this temple instead, or maybe to get started here to later expand in the surrounding area, because it does look really good out here. And there we go, those were all my favorite spots to build on here on Astraeos. And as I said, this map is absolutely gorgeous, it's stunning. So everywhere you go, there is beautiful locations that you could easily go and build a base at that will still look absolutely great. So if you do have any more spots that you think I should check out, let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you around in the next video. For now, goodbye.